In this lesson, we're going to be going through the Trinity College London Grade 2 Group B piece, No No Nanigo. Okay, so as this is a Group B piece, there's no backing track. Okay, so it's a drum solo, it's just us playing this piece. So looking at the sheet music in the book, you've got the song title at the top of the page there, and then beneath that to the left-hand side, it says Afro-Cuban feel. So that's just letting you know the genre, the style that you're playing. So it's like an Afro-Cuban feel, so you need to give it that feel as you're playing it. Okay, then beside that we've got the song tempo. So it says a dotted quarter note equals 83. So there's going to be a dotted quarter note pulse that you're feeling while you play this song. And there's going to be 83 dotted quarter notes every minute. Okay, so you've got the first bar of music. Beneath that, you can see we've got the percussion clef there in the bar, just let you know it's percussion, well, it's drum notation on the stave. Beside that, you've got the time signature. So we've got a 6 at the top, 8 at the bottom. So we're playing in 6/8 for this piece. So the 6 at the top tells you there's 6 beats in the bar. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 8 at the bottom of the time signature is telling you that each one of those beats is an 8th note. Okay, so you've got 6 8th note beats in the bar. So as we know, 6/8 is compound time, so you can feel 2 dotted quarter note beats for 6/8. So in 6/8 you can feel 6 8th notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or you can feel 2 compound beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the 8th note beats and the compound beats as we go through this piece, okay, so make sure you understand both. So in bar 1, we've got 8th notes with our hands on the snare drums. You're going to hit all 6 8th notes in the bar as single strokes. You just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the snare drum. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the bass drum in this bar is going to play the 1 and the 4, the first 8th note beat and the 4th 8th note beat. Okay, so it's going to line up with the right hand on the 1, and then it's going to line up with the left hand on the 4. Okay, so we're adding that bass drum. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see in this bar as well, we've got accents above those notes. So the snare notes that line up with the bass drum. So you've got an accent above the snare on 1 and 4. Okay, so when you play that bass drum, you're just going to accent your hands as well. Okay, so it really accentuates that first beat and the 4th beat. So let's try that now. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you're going to play those 1 and 4 with more emphasis. Now that 1 and 4 is the start of the compound beat. Okay, so remember the compound beat is every 3 8th notes. So you've got 1, 2, 3. That's the first compound beat, and then 4, 5, 6 is the second compound beat. So when we play in 6/8, we feel 2 compound beats. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so that 1 and 4, the first and 4th 8th note beat is the start of those 2 compound beats. Okay, so that's why you're accentuating that point. You really want to accentuate the start of those compound beats for that bar. Okay, so moving to bar 2, we've got 8th notes with our hands again, but this time we're going around the toms. So we've got 2 8th notes on the high tom, 2 8th notes on the mid tom, 2 8th notes on the low tom, and again we're going to play those as single strokes. You've got right, left on high, right, left on mid, right, left on floor toms. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and in that bar, bar 2, this time on the bass drum, you're going to play the bass drum on the first note on each tom, okay, with that right hand. So when you play that first note on the high tom, you're going to play it with bass drum and a left hand on its own. Then you've got the bass drum with the first right hand on the mid tom, then left hand on its own, and you've got a bass drum with the right hand on the low tom, and then you've got a left hand on its own. Okay, so let's put that bass drum in. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that bass drum this time is hitting the 1, the 3, and the 5. Okay, so putting these 2 bars together, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's 8th notes for both bars, but you can hear, well, it seems like there's 2 different kind of rhythms going on because of the bass drum. So in the first bar, you've got the bass drum hitting the start of each compound beat, and then in the second bar, you've got the bass drum hitting the 1, 3, and 5, okay, the first, third, and 5th eighth note beat. Okay, so in the first bar, it sounds like there's 2 beats in the bar, your compound beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the second bar, it sounds like there's 3 beats in the bar, 1, 2. Okay, there's like 3 beats of 2 there. So in the first bar, you've got 2 beats of 3. In the second bar, you've got 3 beats of 2. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay, so that's what we call a hemiola effect. Okay, a hemiola effect is when you play something that has 2 beats of 3 as 3 beats of 2. So normally in 6/8 we play it as 2 beats of 3. So 1, 2. But then in the second bar we're playing it in 3 beats of 2. So you got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's like 1, 2, 3 as you're going around the second bar. Okay, so we're going to put these 2 bars back to back now. So you've got the first bar where you're playing snare drums for 8th notes, playing the bass drum at the start of each compound beat. So there's like 2 beats in the bar, 2 compound beats in the bar. And the second bar, you're playing 8th notes around the tom, and you're playing the bass drum on the 1, 3, and 5. So it sounds like there's 3 beats in that bar. Okay, there isn't, but that's the effect you're given. It's called a hemiola. So now we'll try those 2 bars back to back, so bars 1 and 2, okay, to really hear that hemiola effect. Beneath the first bar, you can see we've got an MF, which is short for mezzo forte, which means half loud. So we need to come in at half loud, and we've got a crescendo through the 2 bars. Okay, so we're going to get louder as we play these 2 bars. And you can see beneath the third bar, you've got an F there, which is short for forte, which means loud. So we need to go from mezzo forte to forte. So half loud to loud through these 2 bars. So let's try bars 1 and 2 4 times through with the dynamics. And then in bar 3, we've got a crash cymbal on the 1 for a dotted quarter note. So a dotted quarter note in 6/8 lasts for the first compound beat, which is the 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we've got a dotted quarter note rest, which lasts for the second compound beat, which is 4, 5, 6. So we just crash on that 1. We've got an accent above the crash. We need to hit that crash with more emphasis and more force so it stands out. And on the bass drum, we're playing a dotted quarter note on 1 with the crash. And then we've got another dotted quarter note on the bass drum on the second compound beat, which is the 4. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the bass drum. And then in the final bar on line 1, bar 4, you've got the same bass drum rhythm there. Okay, so you're playing the first and second compound beat, the 1 and the 4. And then you can see we've got a rest, the whole bar rest there with the hands. So we're just playing bass drum in the 4th bar. So we're going to put bars 3 and 4 together now, just playing bass drum at the start of each compound beat for both bars, and we've got a crash on the 1 of the first bar. Beneath the bar, you can see we've got an F, short for forte, which means loud. So we come in loud, and we've got a diminuendo, so we need to get quieter as we play these 2 bars. Okay, beneath the second line, in the first bar, second line, you can see we've got a P there, which is short for piano. So we need to diminuendo down from forte to piano. So it's quite a drop down in dynamics. So let's try bars 3 and 4 now with the dynamics. And now we'll try the whole of line 1. So in the first 2 bars, you're crescendoing through from mezzo forte to forte. In the second 2 bars, you're diminuendoing down from forte to piano. And then moving on to line 2, so you can see the letter A in a box there above the first bar of line 2, which is bar 5. That's just letting you know it's the start of section A. Okay, so this is the first section of the song. So that first line was like an intro into the first section. Okay, so in the first 2 bars of section A, we've got the nanigo rhythm playing. So we're going to keep the dotted quarter note pulse on the bass drum, so that's our compound beat. So you've got okay, so you're hitting the 1 and 4 there on the bass drum, or the first and second compound beat. That's really going to hold the groove together, okay? So make sure that's really consistent and well placed. And then we've got the nanigo rhythm with the right hand on the floor tom. So we'll try that first of all. So. And on the last note of the nanigo rhythm, we're going to move the right hand to the ride bell. So you can see we've got the diamond there on the ride line, let you know it's the ride bell. And the left hand is going to play the floor tom with it, okay? On that last note of the nanigo rhythm, which is on the 4 of the second bar, okay? So remember, it's a 2-bar rhythm. So with the right hand, you're playing the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 6 in the first bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the second bar, you're playing the 2 and the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, on that 4, you're going to move the right hand to the ride bell, left hand going to replace the right hand on the floor tom. Just going to hit those together in unison on that last note of the nanigo rhythm. So the hands, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then keeping that bass drum playing the compound beats. So we'll put that together to play bars 5 and 6. So we'll just play this at our normal playing level. So mezzo forte is fine, just to get the groove down. So don't worry about dynamics first of all. So let's try bars 5 and 6 to get that nanigo rhythm down. And then we play that 2-bar nanigo rhythm another 2 times for bars 7, 8, 9 and 10. And beneath those 3 sets of 2 bars, so bars 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, you can see we've got a crescendo all the way through. Okay, so we start at piano and we crescendo all the way through to forte. So we've got the 2-bar rhythm played 3 times, we're crescendoing through from piano all the way through to forte. Okay, so let's try that now. Bars 5 to 10 with the dynamics. And then in bar 11, which is the 3rd bar of line 3, we've got a different rhythm now. So we're playing the 1 on the high tom with the left hand. We've got 8th note rest on the 2, and we're playing the 3 on the floor tom with the right hand. So you're hitting the 1, rest on 2, play the 3 on the floor tom, and then we've got another high tom on the 4 for an 8th note, and then we've got another low tom on the 5 for an 8th note, and then we've got an 8th note rest on 6. So you're playing the 1 on high tom, the 3 on low tom, the 4 on high tom, the 5 on low tom. Let's get that down first. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then we've got accents above the 1, which is on that high tom, and also the 4, which is also on the high tom. So again, the start of the compound beat. So you're hearing that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're really accentuating that to really hear the start of that compound beat. So putting those dynamics in, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then on the bass drum, you're just playing a bass drum on the 1 for a dotted quarter note, which will obviously line up with that left hand. Okay? So it's a bit tricky this bar because it feels left hand dominant, so you're kind of leading with that weaker hand. So let's try bar 11 now with the dynamics. Beneath the bar you can see we've got an F, which is short for forte, so we play this bar at the general dynamic of forte, and we've also got accents on those high toms. Okay, so let's try bar 11 now. And then in bar 12, which is the last bar of line 3, you've got the same rhythm you just played in bar 11. We just got a slightly different orchestration. So this time, you've got the 1 and the 3 on the high tom. They're both on the high tom for the first compound beat. So we've got accent on the 1 again, and this time you're going to play it with a right hand on the high tom, that accent, okay? We've got the non-accent with the left hand on the 3 on the high tom, so you're going to play right, left. Then we're going to move the right hand down to the floor tom to play the accent on the 4. And then we're going to keep that left hand on the high tom to play the non-accent on the 5. Okay, so rather than split now between two drums, keeping the left on the high tom, right on the right, we're moving that right hand up to the high tom for the first note, 1, 2, 3, and then moving it down for the 4, playing the 5 with the left hand. So the left hand stays here on the high tom, right hand's moving from the high tom down to a low tom. So just with the hands, accents on the 1 and 4 again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, a bass drum on the 1, okay, which is going to line up with the right hand in this bar. So let's try bar 12 now. So remember, you're at forte, and we need to hear those accents on the 1 and the 4. Now we're going to try bars 11 and 12 back to back. Okay, so we've got the same rhythm in both bars, the same dynamics in both bars, just a slightly different orchestration. So remember, in the first bar, the left hand stays on the high tom, right hand stays on the floor tom, and the left hand starts the rhythm. Okay, and in the second bar, the right hand moves up to the high tom to start the rhythm, and it comes back down to the low tom on the second compound beat. Okay, so just the hands for both bars, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so get used to that first. Okay, just changing up the sticking, the lead hand in each bar. Make sure you get a feel of that. And then we've got the bass drum, obviously on the 1 of each bar. And then we'll put it together. Okay, so let's try bars 11 and 12 back to back. For section A, we're playing in 2-bar phrases, so we've got a nanigo rhythm, which is 2 bars long, and we just played another rhythm there that was 2 bars. So we're going to put the first 4 sets of 2 bars of section A together now. So bars 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Okay, so you've got bars 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. So you've got your 4 sets of 2 bars there. So the first 2 lines of section A, bars 2 and 3 of the piece. So we've got our crescendo from piano to forte through the nanigo rhythm, and then we've got our 2-bar rhythm there at forte. Okay, so let's try and put those 2 lines together. And then in bar 4 of the piece, so starting at bar 13, we've got that nanigo rhythm again that we played in the first part of section A. So looking beneath bar 13, it says sub P. So remember, sub is short for subito, which means suddenly. So we got subito P. So subito piano, suddenly quiet. So obviously you've just played at forte for those previous bars, and now we're going to suddenly drop to quiet. Okay, drop to soft. So you're going to play that nanigo rhythm at piano again, crescendo through 3 times of playing that 2-bar nanigo rhythm to forte, and then we've got a change up again in bars 19 and 20. Okay, so in bar 19, you've got 8th notes on the snare drum, accent in the start of each compound beat, just like you did in bar 1. This time there's no bass drum. So in bar 19, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you're at forte again for this 2-bar rhythm. And then in bar 20, you've got mid-tom, small tom, low tom, kick. So you hit 1, 2, 3, 4 in that last bar in line 5. Okay, so you've just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so those 2 bars, bars 19 and 20, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you've got accents above the start of each compound beat on the snare rhythm, and then you've got accents on the mid-tom, high tom and low tom, and then you've just got a kick, okay, to finish off. So we're going to put those dynamics in as well. So remember, for the 2 bars, you're at forte, and make sure those accents got even more emphasis on the more force. Okay, so let's try bars 19 and 20. And now we'll try the second half of section A. So we've got 4 times through 2 bars again. So we've got the nanigo rhythm, which is 2 bars long. We play that 3 times, and then we've got a 2-bar rhythm to finish off that second half of section A. Okay, so remember, we're crescendoing through from piano to forte through the nanigo rhythm, and then we stay at forte for the 2 bars at the end. Okay, so let's try the second set of 4 lots of 2-bar phrases of section A, which is bars 13 to bar 20. And now we're going to try the whole of section A, so bar 5 to bar 20. So you've got that nanigo rhythm, which is 2 bars long. You play it 3 times with the crescendo, then you've got a 2-bar rhythm. You play the nanigo rhythm again 3 times, and then you've got a 2-bar rhythm. Okay, so think of that section A as 2 sets of 8 bars. Okay, so let's try section A now. And now we come on to section B, which is line 6 of the piece. You can see the letter B there in a box above the first bar of section B, which is bar 21. Now on this rhythm, you're really going to hear that free beat sound again, okay? Hitting that 1, 3, and 5. So we're doing that on the bass drum again, and this time we're playing it with the ride bell. Okay, so you're playing 1, 3, 5. So if you count so that's ride bell and bass drum on the 1, 3, and 5. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you're given the sound again that you've got 3 beats in the bar. Okay, so it's just that effect, that hemiolar effect. And then we've got the snare drum playing in between. So that's playing the 2, 4, and the 6. So ride bell and bass drum on 1, 3, and 5. Snare drum fills in the gaps on the 2, 4, and 6. So you're just alternating the single strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and that bar's at mezzo forte. So you can see the MF beneath the bar there, which is short for mezzo forte, which means half loud. Okay, so let's try bar 21 now, just to get that rhythm down. And then in the second bar of section B, bar 22, you hit that ride bell and bass drum for a dotted quarter note, which is the whole of the first compound beat, the 1, 2, 3. And then you play 4, 5, 6 as eighth notes. So you got snare drum, high tom, mid tom. So you're going to play that single strokes, right, left, right. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, ride bell and bass drum, first compound beat, snare tom, mid for second compound beat. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to put those two bars together, bars 21 and 22. So remember, we're playing in 2-bar phrases. So you want to put those two bars together. They're at mezzo forte. Okay, so let's try bars 21 and 22. And in the next bar, bar 23, you're playing this same rhythm and the same orchestration that you played in bar 21. All you're doing now is accent in the snare on the 4th eighth note beat, on the 4, the start of the second compound beat. Okay, and that's going to give it like more of a groove sound, so like a backbeat on that second compound beat. So really hit that with an accent. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to get used to that groove now. Okay, it's a groove now because you're hitting that backbeat. So let's try bar 23 now. And in the final bar, the first line of section B, we've got a 1-bar repeat. So it's going to repeat that groove you just played in the previous bar. So let's try the whole of the first line now of section B. So bars 21, 22, 23 and 24. And then coming to the final line of the first page, the second line of section B, starting at bar 25. For those first 2 bars, you've got that same bar we played in the first bar of section B in bar 21. And then in the second bar of this line, bar 26, you're playing that ride bell and bass drum for a dotted quarter note again, which lasts for the 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to play a flam on the snare drum. I'm going to play a left flam. So left flam plays the primary note, right hand plays the grace note. You can play a right flam if you want. And then so we play that on the 4, and then you've got 2 eighth note bass drums on the 5, 6. So you've got flam, bass, bass. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so trying that bar 26. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to put those 2 bars together now, bars 25 and 26. And for the next 2 bars of that line, so bars 27 and 28, you've got a feel around the kit. So you've got eighth notes in bar 27, you've got 2 eighth notes. We're going to play a single strokes on the high tom. You're going to play them with accents. Then we're going to play a bass drum on the 3. Then you're going to move your hands to the mid tom to play 4, 5 as single strokes again as accents, and then play the 6 on the bass drum. So bar 27, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you carry on with that into the next bar. So you've got 1, 2 on the floor tom as accents, right, left, bass drum on the 3, and then we're going to play a flam. Again, I'm going to play a left flam on the snare drum with an accent again. So that final bar on that line, bar 28, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to put those 2 bars together now, bars 27 and 28, just going round the kit with those accents, playing the kick after each drum. So you're at mezzo forte and you've got the accents on each tom, okay? Make sure they're really standing out and you've got an accent on the flam to finish as well. So let's try those two bars now, bars 27 and 28. And now we'll try the second line of section B, bars 25 to 28. So now we move on to the second page of the piece. So in bar 29, which is the first bar of page 2, we've got a similar pattern to which we played in both bars 21 and 25 in the previous two lines, but we're just going to change the orchestration slightly. So with the left hand, we're going to play the upbeats on the floor tom. So the upbeats we play with the left hand are on the 2 and the 6. So we're just going to move our left hand across to the floor tom for those two notes. Okay, so bar 29, nice and slow, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you just want to get used to that movement. Okay, so let's just loop that bar through just to get used to that. Okay, so we've gone through that. We've got a 1 bar repeat, so we play that again. And then in bars 3 and 4 of this line, we've got another rhythm going around the kit. So we've got 8th notes in the first of those 2 bars. So this is bar 31. So you've got a flam. I'm going to play a right flam. So right plays primary note, left plays grace note on the high tom as an accent. And then we've got 2 kicks for 8th notes. So you've got 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to switch to a left flam on the on the mid tom for an accent. Okay, and again, you've got the same rhythm, 4, 5, 6. So that bar is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to alternate my flams just to make sure I'm getting practice and use from both sides, so that right flam and left flam. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you want to accent on each of those flams, and then you're playing a flam down on the floor tom at the start of the next bar. Okay, again, I'm going to alternate, so I'm going to play a right flam here on the floor tom, 2 clicks, and then I'm going to alternate my flam again to play a left flam on snare to finish. So the final bar of that line, bar 32, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so those 2 bars now, bars 31 and 32, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's get those 2 bars down. And now we'll try the whole of that line. So this is the third line of section B, which is bar 29, 30, 31 and 32. And now on to the second line of the second page, which is the 4th line of section B. So for the first 2 bars of this line, we're playing the same thing that we played in the first 2 bars of the previous line, and then we've got another 2-bar rhythm. Okay, now in this 2-bar rhythm, we've got flams and kicks again, but this time it's 1 flam, 1 kick. So in the first of these 2 bars, which is bar 35, we've got a right flam on high tom, 1 kick, left flam on mid tom, 1 kick, right flam on low tom, 1 kick. My accent in the flams again, so that's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they're just 8th notes in that bar, and on to the next bar, which is the last bar of this line, bar 36. we've got a left flam on the snare, so it's a left because you just played that right flam on the floor tom. So you've got an accent, left flam on snare, you hold that for a dotted quarter note, which is the whole of the first compound beat, and then we've got a bass drum on the 4, which is the start of the second compound beat. So you've got in this bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we've got 3 grace notes before that bass drum, so that's going to make that 4-stroke rough. So the 3 grace notes are played on floor tom, mid tom, floor tom. So we got, that comes in just before that bass drum. So let's try that whole 4-stroke rough. Okay, so that bass drum, remember, needs to land on the 4, the start of the second compound beat, so make sure those grace notes don't affect that. Okay, make sure they don't affect the rhythm of the primary note. So in this bar you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's try those 2 bars now. So bars 35 and 36. Remember, you're at mezzo forte. And now we'll try the whole of that line. So this is the 4th line of section B, which is the second line of the second page. Bars 33, 34, 35 and 36. So that brings us to the end of section B. Okay, so again we've got those 2 bar phrases. So let's try the whole of section B, bars 21 to bar 36. And now we come on to the last section of the song, section C. So you see the letter C in a box there above the first bar of section C, which is bar 37. So we're coming back to that nanigo rhythm now on the floor tom. So for the first 2 bars of this section, bars 37 and 38, you're playing the same thing that you played at the end of section A. But this time there's no ride bell. She's going to play it all with that right hand, okay, that floor tom rhythm. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And beneath the first of those 2 bars, you can see we've got MP that's there, which is short for mezzo piano, which means half soft. So you're going to play this fairly soft. Okay, so let's try those 2 bars now. The first 2 bars of section C. And in the next 2 bars, we've just got that chord where you've got mid-tom and floor-tom. Okay, again, we're playing the same rhythm, that nanigo rhythm. We've just increased it now to mezzo forte, so half loud. So same rhythm as the previous 2 bars, just adding in the left hand on that mid-tom. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's try those 2 bars now. So we're at mezzo forte. And on to the last line of the piece, so we've got the same nanigo rhythm again, and this time that left hand's going to move to the high tom. So that chord now, we've got the high tom and floor tom together, bass drum staying on those dotted quarter notes, and for these 2 bars we're up to forte. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's try those 2 bars now, bars 41 and 42. And then we just finish with a 2-bar rhythm. So we stay on the high tom and floor tom for the first note of these 2 bars, which is the start of bar 43. So we play the 1 on the high tom and floor tom, and then we play the 3 on the floor tom, and then we got the 4 on the high tom, 5 on the floor tom. Okay, so we got still got that bass drum on the 1. Okay, all the hands have got accents on for this bar. And then we finish with a flam, so I'm going to play a left flam on the snare, kick, kick, and then crash and snare together as an accent. So in that last bar, you've got 3/8 notes, 1, 2, 3, and then finish on the 4 for a dotted quarter note. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so those final 2 bars of the piece, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's try those 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's try those 2 bars now, and we're still at forte. And remember, we've got accents in that the first of those 2 bars. And now we'll try the whole of section C. So we've got that nanigo rhythm, that 2-bar nanigo rhythm. We play it on floor tom first at mezzo piano, then we bring in the left hand on the mid tom at mezzo forte, and then we move that left hand to the high tom for forte, and then we finish with that 2-bar rhythm. Okay, so let's try the whole of section C. And now we're finished putting the whole piece together. So at line 1, we've got that intro line where we've got the first 2 bars with that hemiolet aspect to them. We've got the crescendo through those 2 bars, then we diminuendo down into section A where we're bringing the nanigo rhythm, okay, for section A. Then we come into section B where we change up and hear that hemiolet aspect again. And then we finish with section C where we come back to that nanigo rhythm. Okay, so we're in 2-bar phrases for this piece. Make sure those dotted quarter notes really hold the nanigo rhythm together. Let's try it, the whole piece.